Well, it's a long story. We're back in 1945 when the war had ended and our service people were coming home. And my husband was in the Coast Guard, and he came home. We had a place to live. And so Mr. Carawan, he found a little 4-room house about a block and a half from my church. And we moved in. And then the next door neighbor came over, and it was an old couple, Bill and Jack Davis. And they brought us some food and all that stuff, and they were so sweet. And they invited me to church. Said, we want you to go to church with us. Said, we'll meet every Sunday afternoon. And I said, well, okay, I'll go. Well, I went to church in that little wooden golden building was sitting over there where our fellowship building is. And I just felt something. I said, I belong with these people. Because about 30 people had already gathered. And Jason, at that time, it was one paved street, and that was 10th Street. It was 3 houses on that block facing church. It was the Carawan's house and the Davis and an old wooden brick building. The man had a couple of store, and he sold lots and lots of stuff. And the children, our young people, loved to go over there, get a popsicle or chewing gum, anything they could find over there. But when I went in that green building with Miss Davis, and about 30 people already there, I had a feeling. I said, something's going on. And then after everybody, people greeted me, they were so kind and considerate and loving. And I just fell in love with that church. I fell in love with those people. And when I came the next Sunday, she didn't have to ask me to come. I was ready to come because I love those people. And they were people like, can I call some names? Okay. They were like the Sewells and the Nicholsons and the Carls. And Guy Matthews was there. He always walked. We had to walk because everything was dirt. We had roads, but it was dirt roads. But they came to Morales Nicholson. She brought her children. She had 3 girls, and then Becky's parents passed away, so she took Becky and raised Becky. And they would always walk to church every Sunday morning. And I watched them grow up, Jason, to be good. And they're still in our church. Most of them are still in our church. And that's what I love about our church. We're loving people. We love people. And I'm a hugger because I love to hug. But I remember Myrt off a headspace. He was about that high the first time I ever saw him. His parents brought him to church. And they were Christian people too. And then Mount Williams, his mother came. She could make the best chocolate fudge you ever ate. But they were all Christian people, good people. And they looked like they cared for me because on Sunday morning we were so happy to see people. And we would just hug and laugh, what are you doing all week? And we would talk and all. And then the young people on that green building we had separate places for little classrooms. And a little classroom for all ages, you know. And if I remember right, you had a big old pot stove in there to keep warm in the winter. It had one bathroom. But anyway, we made it. I remember going, Jason, from after we moved, but I didn't move my membership to the last of the year. But anyway, I remember going from door to door and invite people to church. And our church began to kind of fill up. I think it was 40, 50. In our neighborhood, we had all the neighbors came to church. And they, like I said, they would walk on the dirt road to come to church. But they were there ready to shine. And you could just feel the love that we had for each other. That's what I love about our church. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm still in our church, because I love the people. My fondest memory was seeing my 2 daughters baptized. And then we had, the biggest one was when I had my 50th anniversary, wedding anniversary. We had our 50th anniversary there. And then when I look around, I see all these people, the young people like Trudy. She had grown up. I watched her grow up. I watched Mike Hespreth and Amy Cagle. They were cousins. And all the Nicholson girls, like Gail and Kathy, still coming to church. And Bonnie comes once in a while, but she's not. But anyway, they come and they were faithful people. And then you could depend, they would ask you, do you need anything? Are you okay? What can we do to help you? I said, I'm fine. You're fine. But we just enjoyed each other. We loved our classes, but always we like to have 4 different parties. And we loved to eat. We would love to eat. And we would have plenty to eat. And every 3 months, Jason, we would have a different preacher every Sunday afternoon. But every 3 months, the churches would get together and we would have what you call a singspiration at one church. And they would furnish the refreshments and all. And it was a good time because all the churches would meet together. And we would just sing and we were just so happy. Everything was so happy and good. And that's what I still love about our church. And I look around, I see those people, little things that grown up now, they've grown, they bring, like Bill, Carol, and Nancy. They came and they had children, and now they bought the children, now the grandchildren are coming. So that's what I love about our people. They're faithful to the good Lord. Well, I think we got a good future, Jason. I think we got, and it's growing again. And that's because of you, I think, for a lot of people. But anyway, everybody, when I mentioned where I'm going, oh, you go to East 10th Street? I said, yeah, that's where I go. But all my girls were baptized here at church. Well, 2 of my girls, that's all I got. But anyway, they were faithful coming to church too. And they loved the church. In fact, we had the first time minister was Bill Ambrose. He was our first one. And then after he left, he went to Gasborough. We had 2 more ministers come. And they left. And then we heard that we got another minister coming. And that was Clyde Wheeler. Well, we were just happy because we were getting us a new minister. And so it was Clyde and his wife, Donna Jean. And they came, and that's when we started having a latest course, a course in church, while up in the balcony. We had not the balcony, but we had a church choir. Donna Jean would lead us and Trudy would play. And she always loved music, so she would play for her. She bought some pretty music. But it's little things like that, Jason, it means so much to me. It's the people and how it look like they care for you. And I mean, I had one, I called them kind of special. They were all in Renee Overton. Well, they would come in, and Ollie and I would meet in the hall, and he would say, I'm glad I got to see you today. I would hug his neck, and we would sit there and talk. Things like that. And we weren't afraid to touch one another. We would hug and shake hands. And we were just happy, and still are happy, I think. And I just love our church, and I think it's going to continue to grow the way it looks now. We were lucky because she was kind enough to give the land. Don't need the land. But there's just so many good memories. I remember them people, and some of them's gone on to be with the good Lord. And I still miss them. I see it. I think they're still smiling down at me sometimes. I really do.
And the dinners on the ground where we actually had tables set up in the parking lot. And food was spread out all over everywhere.
Yeah, and before we got a big building, I remember talking about in the old building, and we needed us a church. And so some of the ladies could sew. They began to sew and make aprons, all kind of pretty aprons to sell. And then a lot of them would sell big old box of chocolate candy, and that sold good. And then on Sunday morning, after we got into the building, everybody would go in the building, and we'd have somebody what been doing all the week. If somebody was sick, we'd report it. If somebody didn't feel good or something passed away, we were all there to help with that family. And nobody had said, you better go because they need you. But I know I've always loved my family, our church family. I do.